to launch, green and gold.
Well, we're still working on things, but it seemed like that went through all right. Welcome to another edition of Ched Talk. This is where we are going forward on Sunday nights, do our post game of Packer games. And unfortunately, we had a hell of a shitty game today, so not much enthusiasm on that one. I am Iowa Joe. That is Cheese Talk, Mr. Brian Rago. Brian, what are your initial thoughts on this shit show?
Catching the ball seemed to be a problem for us on crucial plays. Jacobs looked fine. Jordan pressed too much, I think, to try to make plays happen, and before halftime, it bit us in the ass. The pick six, missed field goal, discipline, penalties, the usual that upset Packer fans.
Well, I guess this was my one tweet of the day because, like I've been telling people, I try to avoid social media as much as I can during the game. Otherwise, I learn that I pay more attention to social media than I do the actual game. Can we finally get this mindset that INTs are no big deal? I mean, it seemed to hurt us pretty big this before halftime because it blew a lot of momentum.
Yeah, it definitely. And at the end of the game, if we had that missed field goal and maybe we had a field goal before halftime, I mean, it could have been a closer game. We could have came out with a W. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
we played the Vikings and in perfect weather, and we shit the bed against them in the first half. Second half, we played a lot better, but you can't wait until halftime to make your adjustments, especially a team against the Lions. You know.
But the thing is outside of some things, I thought overall the gameplay was good. The offense was rolling there for a bit. They did kind of stall out there on the first drive. The second drive kind of did the same thing. They still were driving a little bit. Josh Jacobs, like you said, was looking really good. But it was the indecisions. It was the holding on to the ball too long by Jordan. I can't even say holding on to the ball because then that goes against the whole interception thing. But it was like he wasn't looking for if what he wasn't looking for wasn't there, he just up and threw it no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I'm getting tired of all these people that, the interceptions aren't a big deal. We knew that was going to happen. I can understand that when you're trying to make a play, but that interception, that pick six was a momentum killer. That should have never happened.
No.
Let's see, what do we got here? We're getting some comments rolling in. Dustin Schultz, simply starting Willis could have changed everything. This is on LaFleur. I don't even know if I agree with that. In hindsight, maybe Willis should have played over Love, but I don't think the injury was fully affecting him more than anything, because he was still driving the ball well. He was making the throws, but drops and bad decisions. So I don't know if Malik would have done any better in this situation, but I don't think you can blame everything on the Jordan injury at this moment.
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, discipline, third and short, and you have, false starts and, the penalties that come back and bite us in the ass. It's I mean, you would have thought that Brian Branch getting disqualified and for the malicious hit, I thought, and obviously I think he's a dirty player, I think that would have pumped the team up, but it didn't really do anything. You know what I'm saying?
No. If anything, it made him worse. Just to get through some. Hi, Josh. Uh, that's quick and simple. Uh, another one from Dustin here. Some interceptions matter more than others. That pick six was a doozy, and that's the issue right there. Is I can deal with some of the interceptions that just come with playing the game, but it seems like half of Jordan's interceptions this year have been just because some stupid little flip that he's trying to make to so he doesn't take the sack or he doesn't throw it out of bounds or whatever, and that's when defenses are punishing the Packers. But yeah, I don't know. He really needs to clean that up, and if it's the injury that's bugging him, then yeah, Malik needs to start. I don't want to see another Brett Favre coming through. I mean, I grew up through the Brett Favre era. Brett Favre was the man, but what were the big knocks when it came to Brett Favre? Interceptions and always playing no matter what, which tended to hurt the team more often than not when he's banged up.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if Love maybe he at the right position to throw the ball out of bounds. It, there's no way would have passed. You know what I'm saying? The position he was in when he tried to throw that ball to Jacobs. I mean, I see what he's trying to do, but it's just a lose-lose situation for us when that happens. He did the same thing against the Rams, and it was a pick six. You know,
right? And the thing is I don't even think Jacobs was fully. I mean, I know that was supposed to be the target, but I don't think Jacobs was fully. I think he was there more for pass protection and just happened to leak out. So in itself, Jordan should have known a little bit more. Okay, we're
yeah,
in a mess. I'm just going to throw it at his feet. I'm just going to throw it at his feet. And I don't even know if I wanted to see Malik run in the rain,
yeah.
Dustin. Because knowing Packers fans' luck, Malik would have got just as injured trying to run in this crap than Love was.
Yeah, and to see like Love throw an interception, uh, I mean, obviously the defense couldn't do anything because they ran it back for a touchdown. But you know, it's, I mean, at least if it ain't ran back for a pick six of 100 yards, it's right. You know, it's just like doing a punt. What's the difference? Then your defense comes out there and does their job. Like last week, he threw an interception, which was a good throw, in an even better defensive play. And then 2 plays later, McKinney picks off the quarterback. You know, and this time, we didn't have a chance for revenge because they brought it back for a touchdown.
Right,
That's the only part that stings about it.
right. But I mean, that's where I get to. That's where he's got to clean things up because you don't want to always have to put your defense in that position to have to correct your mistakes.
Right.
And and I get he wants to go out and be a gunslinger and all that, and that's fine. And I know picks come with that, but right now with the way he's going, he's probably on pace for Jameis Winston's 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. And I don't know if I want to see that personally. I really don't. I would rather have a top-notch quarterback than a middling quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know, Dustin, if we know he can run, Malik can run, but you don't want to. What happens if Malik gets hurt? Then you throw in Jordan, I guess. You know.
Yeah. All right, what's this one? I don't know if guys that throw those kind of balls, they can, because it just comes down to better decision making. I mean, look at how he played last year. He he's already topped his interception total from last year. So he can be a better version of himself. I get that he's not getting any help from a lot of his receivers due to the drops. Today was not great, but it just it it's kind of weird when you have looking at the stats. You had Jared Goff at 81.8% completion rating, and you had Jordan at 58.97%. That should have never happened. It's all a change of mindset. I right now off the top of my head, I'm not going to be able to pull up any real examples of it, but you can tell it's not a physical attribute that is hurting Jordan with the interceptions. It's not his arm talent. It's not anything like that. It's just his mindset. So if he can get his mindset worked out, sit down with Clements, sit down with LaFleur, sit down with whoever the hell he's got to, it can be a lot. I know you're going to sit here and argue with me, and trust me, when I get on with Kawano later, I'll come up with some examples, but I'm not in the mind frame of picking.
This is the kid, this Dustin Schultz guy here. He's a good friend of mine. Him and I played youth basketball together, so I know who he is, and he likes to prove play. It's awesome. He's gonna be my stat man for my Cheese Talk pod.
Well, no, and he's right, and I should have examples, but I don't, because I just, like I said, my mind frame is not there at examples. I just know that with Love, it's not a physical attribute; it is more of a mental attribute. So, oh no, you're trying to argue, Dustin. I will get you on this. You just listen to the next Oath episode. True North. The penalties are really starting to get frustrating. They are, and they're coming off on people that should not be getting the penalties. Like Zach Tom was hit with one. I think Elton was hit with one. Now, I have to say that the one that comes to mind right now, the offside penalty against the Packers early in the game, this could be biased, but I don't think that was textbook offsides. I was not happy with the Dean Blandino explanation of Frank Ragnow being able to jerk himself up like that and not get penalized for false start. I don't know if you remember the one I'm talking about. It was early in the game. You're kind of freezing up over there.
Yeah, that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Other than having your own stipulations on what was right, what was wrong, is it make it more of a clear penalty? You know damn well with that coach that he knows all the tricks to try to get teams to jump off sides or do this or do that. It's just like watching. Forgot what college game it was yesterday where the defense kept on shifting and making the offensive line like jump early. It's the defensive coach knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So there should be like a clear in the rule books what's right and wrong. Because there was like 3 plays in a row yesterday in that college game where the defense made a shift pre-snap. I think it was against Wisconsin. Because their center was telling the ref, "Hey, they're mocking our cadence. They're shifting at certain points." Called for a false start, but the next 2 times they got called for a delay of game. The defense. Oh, that was against Iowa.
You couldn't remember what game that was? Do I have to show
I
you
just
which
thought
game
of that.
was?
It's just cool. clicked. It just clicked. But yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
You know, there's
And
there's tricks there's tricks to the trade that people try to get away with. You know, so it's make it fair across the board. Make every call be the same. You know.
it, there is, and I mean, Iowa is pretty good with that stuff on that end, but I just think that the way Blandino explained this one against Ragnow with the whole, well, it was one smooth motion, and no, he jerked up and acted like he was going to snap the ball. That is prototypical false start. Now, this could just be sour grapes or whatever, but in my eyes, that was clear false start. That should have never been a penalty against the Packers.
Right. Yeah, it's you live and learn.
Yeah. So just looking through some of these other stats, we talked about, Josh Jacobs was looking pretty good. He went 13 rushes for 95 yards. He was held out of the end zone. He did have that one rush of 37. He averaged 7.3 today. Was I mistaken, or did he not play there towards the end of the game? It looked like it was more Wilson and Brooks than Jacobs.
Yeah, I think. Well, he came off limping at one point. Kind of, he was kind of favoring his maybe it was his ankle or something like that. But he came off at one point. I don't know, midway through the fourth quarter, I think, and had like a little bit of a limp to him.
Yeah, and I know he came into the game banged up with an ankle injury, so it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know if it was a whole second half, but definitely there in the fourth quarter, it looked like they weren't using him as much. So while we're sitting here chatting away, anybody watching, if you got any questions or comments you want to drop into the chat, let us know. We'll try to bring them up and talk about them. But, really the running backs looked like they did well. I have to give them credit on the 1 4th down conversion with Tucker Kraft taking the snap from center and pushing the pile forward. That was a hell of a play call. I don't think anybody really saw that coming, but that was pretty good. I really enjoyed that one.
Did you guys see my tweet during? I think it was the first half, where I said, "I'm like, picture this: Robert Saleh breaks into the Packers coordinator's coaching booth and gives dressed as Stone Cold Steve Austin and gives Hafley the Stone Cold Stunner and takes over as coordinator."
I know there's going to be a lot of that controversy going on this week that, we need to, but I really don't. The big issue I saw with the defense, and I will talk with Kawano later because Kawano's my analyst on things. The only one that really looked like that was struggling out on the field defensive wise in coverage was Nixon. I thought Stokes gave up some catches, but he was there. I mean, he had solid coverage on the guys that he was covering. It just seemed like Nixon, especially on the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown on a 4th down conversion, it was a struggle for him out there. And I know they were missing Jair today, but you got to hope the rest of your guys can step up in that case.
Yeah. Put Cooper at middle linebacker. He seems to be more aggressive and can get to the ball faster and make reads better than Quay Walker.
Now, this is going to be another thing of contention, but you also got to remember how they're playing the linebackers. Quay is the one that has to give the play, instruct everything, so he's not able to read off the play as quickly as somebody who they're giving, okay, you're just going to go chase his ass down. And that's basically what they're doing with Cooper right now is you just go after this guy. You just go up the middle. You just do this. Whereas Quay has to be a little bit more surgical in the stuff that he does because he also has to be the field general.
Right. He just came back from a concussion too, so.
Yeah. I'm not going to hate on Halfley. That defense isn't why they lost, unlike the Berry games. And that's pretty much it. It was the offense was holding them down. It wasn't converting the plays that they needed to. And I won't cut you too bad when I talk to Quano tonight on our new episode. So I agree with this current
Matt
take.
or Dustin is sent me a picture of himself. Kermit the Frog and the Cheesehead. That's Dustin right there.
So I agree. Cooper needs to play a little bit more. But like I said, his job right now is a lot easier for him than what it is for Quay. So I'm not, and I know there's a lot of people out there going after Quay and want. That's fraud. I never sent that. We already got more controversy going on. But this is my wish, and I know it's not going to happen, but I do wish that the Packers would go out and pick up somebody in the secondary. I know everybody's talking about an edge rusher or something like that, but the way the secondary has been playing when they're minus a Jair or minus somebody, they've been lacking. And I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's because the cohesion isn't there or if they're just not as good. True North is Jair, the new Aaron Jones. Maybe. I mean, I could see it. I just don't know the extent. Because the whole Jair injury was really weird this week because they were saying that, there was no structural damage. There was no, there was no issue. It was day to day. And then we come in today and they just said no. So I don't know if they just want to give him an extra couple weeks or what. So what do you think? Is Aaron Jones the new Jair? Or is Jair the new Aaron Jones? See how my mind's thinking today? I see your lips moving, but nothing's coming out.
Well, when Aaron's not in the game, the Vikings seem to struggle. When Jair is not in the game, our defense seems to struggle. So,
and like I said, it's true. I just Jair's just not had any luck when it comes to the injuries because it always seems to be something new. Whereas with Aaron Jones, it always seemed to be like the same thing. It was like a hamstring injury or a knee injury. Whereas Jair, it's been hamstring or groin or back or shoulder. It's been a conglomeration. I can't even say. It's been a whole different set of things for it. So we'll see what happens. But with the trade deadline coming up, I do hope that they do bring in, and I'm not talking a big name guy. If they can go out and get like do like a Rasul trade where they trade like I guess Rasul wasn't a trade for us, but go out and get somebody for a 5th round pick, go for it.
Yeah, they've got to do something because you can't have it to where one of your main guys on defense is gone and your defense just shits the bed.
Right.
It just seems like there's mistakes left and right, and it got frustrating to watch. It really did. I haven't felt that way watching the game in a long time as far as being frustrated.
No, I get you. I started tuning out.
Welcome to Green Bay, Crosby.
Yeah, that one's not going to happen. They're going to have to give up way too much to make that one happen, unless you're going to somehow package a player.
Maybe he's talking Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby.
In a way, he is, because isn't Mason taking over a radio show or something?
A podcast? I don't know, something.
Yeah, he's on one of the radio shows or whatever now. So I'm trying to my other stats because I know there was sack by the Packers today. I was wondering who they credited it to. Okay, they gave a half a sack to Mosby and a half a sack to Gary. So
Yeah.
that was probably the best pass rush we've seen in a long time. And the sad thing is Mike and I have talked about this constantly. It seems like our defenders are getting in the backfield, but they get lost when they get into the backfield. And I don't know if they just get so excited that they get into the pocket that they forget what they do when they get to the pocket. Yeah,
I think they over pursue, and they flush the quarterback past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
They don't make the tackle behind the line. They just over pursue and they push the quarterback up. That's all they do.
well, but see, in a way, that's what your edge rusher should do is push the quarterback into your defensive line. But when they do that, your defensive line isn't there. So I don't know which is worse. Is it our pass rush that's bad, or is it our defensive line that's bad?
Right.
Let's see. What do we got over here?
Yeah.
True North Packers can live with Watson on the bench, but no Jair is a struggle. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Take that last second quarter out of this game, then reevaluate it. It still sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there was just so many lost points in this game that I wish I had a stat for that, is how many points the Packers lost on this game. They had so many drop touchdowns and so many drop catches, and then McManus missing the kick. Is everybody now fallen out of love with Brandon McManus now?
I don't think that his missed field goal is the difference maker in the game.
In a way. I mean, that's still lost points off the board that had it been converted, it would have been a little bit tighter. Yeah, it's kind of an inside joke, Dustin. I'm not a McManus fan no matter what. So I get it. He plays for the Packers now, but out of everything we've ever heard about Brandon McManus over the years, he's a real tool bag. And those sexual assault allegations didn't help him out at all either. There's my boy True North popping in. Carlson looked pretty good for the 49ers, just saying. I said it all along, they did the wrong thing at the beginning of the year. I think they should have held on Carlson and brought in a guy for the practice squad, and the minute Carlson started showing any signs of sucking, that they could have brought the guy from the practice squad up, whether it had been Joseph or McManus or whatever. The sexual assault allegations are right. They were allegations, but him being a complete douchebag is not allegations. There were many people that did not like Brandon McManus for many years in Denver. Well, yeah, that's true. All kickers are tools. I remember hating Ryan Longwell because he was a dick at one of the training camps when I was a kid. But continuing on with the game, let's see, what do we got here? The QB exchanges were rough. I know they had a different center in the game, but it seemed like Jordan just could not adjust to the exchanges from Jenkins. And even Tom Brady was pointing it out on the broadcast that it's hitting Jordan in the same spot every time. That means you've got to adjust your footwork. And Jordan just wouldn't adjust his footwork.
Yeah. Yeah, I it just, and even a couple of those, you know,
I think we're having some technical difficulties because there's been a little bit of a delay between me and Brian. But we'll make do. What do you got to say, True North? LaFleur does have an extra week to complain, review the mistakes before the Bears game.
yeah.
But
I'm
to
at
the thing, does he
I'm at
actually
full
review
bar
them?
here.
Yeah, I was at full bar for a minute. So I don't know. The weather is shitty and everywhere, so maybe next time we'll take a guest or two on. We're still in the learning processes of doing our live streams. But will LaFleur actually complain? That's the main thing. Will he actually complain? I keep saying for the longest time that we need to just stop having head coach press conferences, because all you get is the traditional coach speak and no real insight out of it, and the press corps asks their questions and they get no real answers out of anything. So I think press conferences just need to stop.
Yeah, for sure.
He's too nice of a guy. Are you talking about LaFleur, Dustin? I don't know if he's too nice of a guy. He's got his heated moments, so it would not surprise me if he would want to go off. But it just seems like the Packer way not to say anything during press conferences.
Oh, he has it in him. I know that for a fact.
Sure. For sure. Well, I agree, but I don't agree on this one. He's too nice with the media. He should drag some people every once in a while. Are you talking drag people in the media or drag like players? Because I don't think you need to go into a press conference and completely drag a player, because that will completely tank the morale in the locker room. And the last thing you need to do as a head coach is lose the morale in the locker room. Now, if you're talking he needs to drag some of the media guys, I'm all for it. All right, so let's finish out and then we'll hop off here because we're a little over half an hour. I think we've pretty much touched on what we're going to touch on with this damn game. So let's do our let's do our game ball. I think we got to give out a game ball. Who are you giving your game ball to, Brian?
Josh Jacobs.
Makes sense. And I'm going to go the other way with it, and I'm going to give it to Jaden Reed. Jaden was 5 receptions, 113 yards. So they were definitely our top playmakers today. So I keep going for it, Dustin. I'm going to come up with the merchandise one of these days. He's the Celtic Cannon. You know, you guys start passing along. He is the Celtic Cannon. So let's finish out another episode of Ched Talk. You can find all of us on the Twit machine at Ohana_Packers. You can find Brian at Cheese Talk _pod. Game ball to Saleh just because he needs some love. I think he gets plenty of love. Appreciate it, Dustin. What is next week's game? I don't even know.
Bye.
Oh yeah, next week is a bye week, so we won't have most likely we won't have anything next week. Then the following week is the Bears game, and is that a Monday night game? No, that's a noon game. Noon game. So we will probably be live again on that Sunday. Uh, Depending on any overtime or anything, probably 3:45 Central Time. So please be sure to join us then. As I was saying with the socials, he is Brian Rago at Cheese Talk _pod, and cheese is spelled with a Z. Mine is at Iowa _Joe86. Find us on Instagram, Ohana Packers Edition, Facebook, Ohana Packers Edition. We are also on Twitch. We're trying to, let's just admit it, Twitter is a cesspool anymore and does not allow for lives unless you want to pay Elon a bunch of money, and I don't feel like paying Elon any kind of money. So we're trying to do more Instagram and Twitch and YouTube, so join us on those. As always, give us thumbs up, thumbs down, likes, subscribes, all that kind of good stuff. We are working on putting together a giveaway for Facebook followers, so please do go over to pay for his rockets. He can pay for. Never mind, I won't say it. I'll be nice right now. We are working on a giveaway for Facebook followers. So if you have Facebook, please go over to Facebook and follow us there. We are still doing our initiatives, cancer awareness, and military appreciation. Military appreciation definitely this month, being that it is salute to service for the NFL. November 11th is Veterans Day, so please go over, help us support a couple of great causes. All the merchandise that is labeled under the fundraiser, the money made off of those will be donated to charities. The cancer awareness one will go to Trisha's Troop, a cancer foundation out of Wisconsin, and the money for the military appreciation merchandise is going to a couple of local American legions. So please go over there, help us out with that. And, as always, as Mike would say, aloha and go, pack, go.
Go Pack, go.